What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? How you guys doing? My name is Ross Alex, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Started Somewhere, where we dive real deep into a new entrepreneur every single week and hear about how they got started, their trials, their tribulations, the challenges that they had to overcome, and the successes that they have accomplished. If it's your first time on the show, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Make sure to send us out, share it out to your friends, because we have a very special guest here tonight with us on the show, and I'm going to be introducing him in just a second. I'm sharing this out myself, so come on in, get ready to rock and roll. We're going to be hanging out for the next 45 minutes to an hour, and let's get excited. All right, I see some people hopping on. What's up, guys? Make sure that you introduce yourself. Say hello in the comments. So tonight, guys, we have a super special guest joining us from Houston, Texas. I've been watching this gentleman absolutely dominate in the real estate space for the past couple of years. In fact, when I first got started and I started going to networking events and I started talking to people and I was learning who's doing deals, who's not doing deals, this gentleman's name came up multiple times. So he's going to be talking about how to build an empire, right? How do you build an empire? What does that look like? And how can you get started today? So his name is George Mata. He's 29 years old. He's born and raised in Houston, Texas. He runs a company called Empire Holdings, and he's been an entrepreneur since 2007, guys. So that's 10 years in the game, in the business. So I know he's going to drop a ton of value for us tonight. And I'm really excited to hear how he got started, in his business and has weathered the storm. 10 years is a long time in the game, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring out the man himself, Mr. George Mata. George, what's up, brother?
What's up?
Awesome, man. It's so great to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was awesome, dude. I'm super excited about getting invited, man. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. George, I've been hearing about you, man. I know we've been connected here and there. We've met up at a couple events and whatnot, but I don't think I've ever really heard how you got started. And I don't know much about you other than that you flip real estate. So, why don't you just start off, man? Tell us about yourself, man. Who is George Mata?
Yeah, man. So originally I started learning about doing real estate, wanting to be an entrepreneur like when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was kind of conflicted on what I wanted to do as far as like, do I want to go to college like everybody else? Do I want to start my own business? Like, what is it that I want to do? And initially I thought I was going to get into like IT space and stuff like that. And then I was like, man, you know what? Like I took a mentorship like at ExxonMobil, like my senior year of high school. And I saw everyone in there had degrees and stuff, and dude, they hated their life. Like these guys are making $60,000-$70,000 a year, and they're paying back student loans and all this stuff. They don't have any money, and I'm like, man, well, there goes that idea. So I was actually really lucky, man, because my brother's best friend, one of his best friends, was named AC Ramos. I'm sure a lot of people know about AC. And I got really interested into what he was doing. At the time, he was doing a lot of wholesaling. And he wasn't very big. I mean, it was just him and like maybe one other guy. And I was like, man, you know what? I'm really super interested in learning how to do that. Is it cool if I come work with you during the summer, check it out, see how I like it and stuff? He's like, yeah. So I started doing it that way, started learning how to wholesale and stuff like that. When I was probably 17, I was bird dogging. When I was 18, started wholesaling. By the time I was 19, I was like a project manager on all the rehabs and stuff like that we were doing. Keep in mind, this is during the time that the real estate market crashed. So 06,
right.
06,
This is back, what, 2006, 2007?
Yeah. So it crashed. We lost a ton of money. I didn't really make any money, and I pretty much chalked it up to like a learning experience, right? Like I know next time when I want to do this business that I'm going to have to structure it differently. So go along. I got out of the real estate game right around 08, 09 when it was like really, really bad, and we were doing a ton of retail stuff, so it really just didn't work. Got a corporate job, did that for a couple years, and then in 2012, the end of 2012, I decided like, man, you know what? This is what I want to do again. AC was telling me he was working on some new stuff. I said, cool, man, I'm going to come back and work with you. Dropped everything that I had going and just dived in like head first, like into the deep end. Like I said, if there's anything that I'm going to do, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to put everything I have into it. And that's what I did. I just went full throttle. So full throttle on the wholesale side, doing a bunch of those, just really learning the business in every aspect and totally being like diversifying with what I was doing. So that was in 2012, 13, 14. I worked with them, Prosperity Real Estate Group and Cityscape Investments. I was the COO for AC's company. And then I was the head coach for Prosperity Real Estate Group. And again, still like one of the great, coaching mentorship groups in Houston, and helped develop a lot of their programs and coach a lot of their successful students and stuff like that. And I just decided I wanted to go on my own and kind of grow my real estate business as far as like buy, fix, and sell, rental portfolio, and stuff like that. So when I went out on my own, I did that for about a year. That was in 15. And then 15, 16, 17, I've had my own company. And I didn't want a team initially, right? Like I was kind of like, man, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with people and students, coaching. And I just kind of wanted to do it on my own. And I did some deals on my own. And then one of my buddies, Philip, who now works with me very closely here in Empire, he said, man, dude, you know what, man, you really need to build a team. And I was like, yeah, you know what, man, I think I do. And, my good friend of mine, Jose, was the first team member with me. And I took him, and in 90 days, the 90 days that he was working with me, he grossed close to 70 grand, like in 90 days. Right. So I was like, great. Now I know what I'm doing works, and I can get other people on my team to do it. So then I was like, man, that's how I kind of came up with Empire. Was I wanted to build an empire of people at the same time that I get to help them be successful and succeed in their life, so that's what I did. And now it's myself, Philip, Jose, Carol, Frank, Andrea, Felicia, Marco, Travis. So I have 9 people.
That's awesome, man. So George, we got a lot to talk about here after hearing that was just a lot, and I want to dive a little deeper into your early years. So have you ever worked a job out of high school?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did. So I was in corporate. My first job was at ExxonMobil, right? It's like during high school, I was like part-time. Then I worked for a logistics company there. After that, after the crash, then I worked for a logistics company, a global logistics company. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you hear about this guy, AC. He's doing. I actually had lunch with AC the other day. Shout out to AC, one of the coolest guys I've ever met. So you hear about this real estate stuff. You got interested in it. You're like, well, hey, he's doing it. I can do it. So you kind of just jump straight in. But you got in at kind of like a rocky time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, were you having some success and then shit hit the fan? Or did you just get in and it was just all crazy?
Yeah, no, I mean, we did. Like, we had bought quite a bit of properties. And back then we were doing a lot of seller finance. So, I mean, we were making money there doing that. We're like, you know what, man? We're going to take on like this big-ass rehab. Right? It's like a $100,000 project in the Heights. And we're like, we're going to do it. And we do it. And we have a problem with the contractor. Contractor took a ton of money, did a bunch of work, like really messed up stuff, had to go back and fix it. At the end of the day, I mean, dude, we lost like $100,000,
Jeez.
And,
so I'm sure that, you're going through high school, you get into business. I'm sure most of your friends are going off. They're doing the college thing. They're going to work these jobs, these little odd jobs. And you're focused. You're like, no, I want to work for myself. I want to build a business. And you were getting some results, but then shit started hitting the fan. You lost $100 grand. What were you feeling at the time?
Oh, man, you feel like a failure. I mean, man, like I'm telling my parents, because I mean, nobody in my family on either side has their own business. Like I'm pretty much like the only one. So for me to go out and say, hey, I'm going to do this totally different thing. And, you know, my parents' mindset was you work until you retire and hopefully you have a good retirement. And then that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
for me, I'm taking a totally different approach on life, and they're like supporting me. So, I mean, I'm blessed that they supported me through that time too. Cause I mean, I was so young. It was like, hey, I kind of have time to where like, if I'm going to fuck it up, I might as well just do it now. You know what I mean? And like get it out of the way. So
Right.
I did, and I failed, you know, and it kind of sucked, but I got back on my feet, and I always had faith that it worked. It was just like, what do I have to do next time better that I didn't do last time? And that's what we did this time, you know?
So I think that, and you let me know your thoughts on this. Failure is necessary in order to achieve massive success. I think that you have to fail and learn from your mistakes, you know, to get to where you really want to go. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Okay.
Fail falling forward. Like you have to. Like you will. You will fail. You will fail. And it's going to be good when you fail because you're going to learn. Like that's the biggest thing. And I have that hiccup a lot. Like when I'm training people that work with me and stuff like that, I'm like, look, man, you're going to mess up because I messed up and I'm really good and I still mess up. And like, you're going to mess up. It's okay. You know, like,
yeah. So what would you say to somebody that just got started in a business, no matter the industry, they're getting some results, right? They've made some money and now shit's not going the way that it was, and they're freaking out, they're having anxiety, they're feeling like a failure, and they're wanting to quit and throw in the towel. What would you say to that person?
Man, I mean, quitting is for me, it was never an option. Right. This time, like it wasn't an option the first time because I really didn't quit. I had no choice. Like at that time, it was so bad. I mean, the real estate market was terrible. Everything was terrible. And quitting now for me isn't a choice. But if you get to that point, there's a reason that you're at that point. And you kind of have to analyze what you're doing. You may feel like you're doing the most that you can do, but I guarantee you you're not, you know, because you wouldn't be feeling that way. So, I mean, you always have to push forward and push through. You know, a friend of mine, Alan Hernandez, he's a good friend of mine. When I decided to go out on my own and start my company, man, this is a day that I never forget. And every time I mention it at networking events, whenever I speak, I talk about this. We went to go run Memorial, and we were working out together. And I said, man, you know, man, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to have my own company. And he goes, do it, man. You can do it. It's going to be hard. You may eat bologna sandwiches and rice and beans for like, you know, the next year. He's like, but push through it and do it and you'll make it, you know? And dude, that stuck with me, you know, like that really stuck with me. I'm like, dude, and you know what I mean, there was a point where I was like, oh shit, man, this is getting hard and pocket's getting kind of tight, but I'm going to push through it. And I just need to do more. I need to do more. Like, so.
Do more. I like that. So at that time in your life, George, you know, what kind of things were you doing to keep your mind right, to keep your, you know, your head on your shoulders and, you know, to stay driven to push through that, man? Because that's tough, man, to go through that stuff, you know?
Yeah, no, it is. And really, I mean, having support from the people in my life and then watching everybody else, you know, watching other successful investors, reading a ton of books, audiobooks, just staying in it, surrounding myself with people that are already doing it, that are already successful, right? Because if you don't and you're by yourself or you're at people that just aren't at that level or above you, that's going to be a killer of the game right there too. You know what I mean? Like whoever you're around, that circle that you're around is going to make a huge impact on your influences, your decision making. Like, do you choose to go out and get wasted on Friday night, or do you choose to go hang up 200 bandit signs? You know what I mean? Do you choose to like write these postcards by hand because you don't have any money, or do you choose to go waste that money on food or going out to eat or whatever it is that you do? You know? So
right. Yeah. No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah. That circle of influence, man, was big, and I've always been lucky to have been able to make friends and stuff and go out to networking events. And even if I didn't have any money, it was like, dude, this is a must. I need to go, right? Because there may be a chance for me to get money there. I may pick up private money to do a house. I may do this. I may find a deal that I may have a buyer for. Like whatever the case may be, like always stay like neck deep in it and just push through. You know, it's almost like it gravitates toward you.
Right. Absolutely. And George, you mentioned that you were doing some audiobooks, you were doing some reading. Is there any audiobooks or actual physical books that you would recommend that somebody, you know, going through what you went through pick up?
Yeah, and you know what? There's one that's really small and really short. Took me like an hour and a half, and that's Cuban's book. I think it's Winning at the Game of Business. I think that was the title. And that's a good one, man, because it talks about, like, it compares business to a sport, right? And like, there's always going to be somebody that wants to outwork you. There's always going to be somebody up late. There's always going to be somebody pushing, like, to beat your ass, you know? So, I mean, it works the same way in business. It's like, you got to be up, you got to be pushing as hard as you can. Not as hard as you think you can, like harder than that. And,
right.
And that was a great book. It's super short, super easy, but it's super to the point. And he just gets in depth in as far as like being in that mindset of when you think you're going to fail, don't, like, just push through it and do the work, and you'll see the result.
Push through it, work, you'll see the results. So Mark Cuban, Winning at the Game of Business, that you would recommend, guys. So for the listeners right now, write that down. If you're just tuning in, we are live with George Mata, super rock star entrepreneur in the real estate space. I see some comments coming in. Enrique says teams are important. Absolutely agree. John Bogan says no risk, no reward. I love it. So, George, you're going through this this grind phase, right? You're going to these networking events. You're reading these books. You're making stuff happen. Was there anybody in your life that wasn't in alignment with your vision and your actions that you were taking at the time?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I went from like having a certain like circle of friends and still keeping those friends, but I mean, I secluded myself a lot into my own circle and like started creating this other network of people that were on a different level that I could say, okay, cool. Like I relate to them because I mean, it's kind of weird. Like you want every conversation you have almost with other people to be about what you're doing, you know, like you get so involved and so just like up to your eyes that you're like, dude, like I don't even want to hang out with these people unless I can talk about what I'm doing right now, you know?
Dude, that is so true, man.
Yeah. And that's the point that I got to. So it's like I didn't even want to hang out. I didn't even care to have my time spent there. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it to be around like-minded people that I could talk about whatever I have going on, learn from them, they could learn from me, like, and just whatever value I can bring to the table, I bring to the table for them. You know, so right. Like I always kind of wanted to be the dumbest person in the room at that point.
Okay. Yeah. What's that saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right?
You're probably in the wrong room.
You got to surround yourself with people that are, you know, a level above you, man. And, you know, I think a lot of people, George, deal with that. I talk to a lot of new entrepreneurs. They get started in business and they're so focused and obsessed with what they're doing because they're getting results or they know what's possible, and their circle that they've had for their whole life just starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's tough for people to find that balance, you know, and meet new people and network with new individuals of people that are in alignment with their vision. So, what is some tips right now for somebody that's going through that? You know, they're getting blown up Friday nights. Hey, come out. You never come out with us anymore. You never want to, you know, go to the club with us anymore. I mean, what are some suggestions that somebody can use to, you know, to combat that?
Man, you know, what really helped me was like, I always had a plan for something ahead of time. Like when I first started, I had no money. Like in 2012, 2013, when I started again, like I really didn't have any money. So what I did was I would go out every Friday night and hang up like 150 bandit signs. And that was by myself. So like, it was like I either go do that or I just don't have money, or I go out with these guys and I waste my money. But I always had that set up. So I did that consistently for like 3 months straight, like every single Friday, like from 9 a.m. to like 2 in the morning.
Wow.
Right. So like if you have something set up and you have a game plan, then that's going to be a lot easier to say, nah, man, I got some stuff I got to do for work, you know, and just go knock it out, do what you got to do. And it's not that you can't hang out with those people. It's just, hey, man, you got this stuff to do. That's your time block to do that stuff. You can do that stuff or you can go party. Which one's going to give you a reward?
You got to get it done. So, George, real quick, for the viewers here that are not familiar with the real estate investment business, can you explain what bandit signs are?
Yeah, so bandit signs are the signs that you see on the side of the road that say, we buy houses cash, and it'll have a phone number on the side of it. I would go out, hang up about 150 of those every single Friday, depending on the area. Go out, do that. The next day, take calls, because the next day calls are going to be coming in. So Saturday morning. So I'm working Friday night from 9 till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then waiting to answer my phone like at 7 a.m., like hoping that people call my signs. And then hopefully I get an appointment that day. So then I go on an appointment, try to get a deal and lock up a contract. Then boom, on Sunday, I'm reviewing the deal or taking pictures or whatever, running appointments. And then, yeah.
So what were your results like with those signs? I mean, were the calls, coming in like crazy or what?
Back then, yes, bandit signs were super effective back then. So, I mean, I could hang out 150 signs and I'd probably get about 10 calls and I'd probably get a deal. Now it's probably like you have to hang up about 300, 350 signs to be able to get a deal.
There's some mixed on bandit signs,
oh, yeah, there is. That's always been an uphill
battle. Let me ask somebody who's done them. Do bandit signs still work?
I think they still work. I mean, they do work. It's just how many do you want to do? How much are you going to hang out? What's the conversion rate? Once you're, dollar per acquisition, like how much are you spending per acquisition? So for me, direct mail is always my bread and butter. But going out, doing that, setting off that time, man, really sets it to where like you can get in the mentality of like, hey, look, I need to do this. Like I can't go to the club. Like instead of going to the club, why don't you come with me, hang out these signs? Like I'll hook you up if we close a deal. Try to grow the people around you at least to get in the same mindset. Like that's something too. I mean, dude, I had people laughing at me, bro. Like people would laugh at me because I had my truck on Friday afternoon stacked full of bandit signs, and they're like, "What are you gonna do right now?" I said, "Dude, I'm gonna go hang these signs up." And like people laughed at me.
So, I mean, how did that make you feel?
I knew what it would do, and I knew that it would work, and like it really just made me push even harder, man. I mean, it made me push harder, made me get through it, and while I'm out there at night, yeah, it sucks, there for a little while, but when I pick up a check and it's $10,000-$15,000 off a sign that I hung up on the street, what are you gonna tell me? Like,
just fuel to the fire, fuel to the fire. I think a lot of people that get started, maybe they have a new idea, they're entering a new industry that people that they know are not familiar with. There's going to be that skepticism, people aren't going to understand it. And you really just got to keep going. You got to keep pushing forward. You got to believe. You have to believe.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, man, when you first start, especially if you're not around people that are entrepreneurs and your friends just, have regular jobs or they go to work every day, 9 to 5, it's going to be real hard. But then you'll see the ones that are, kind of successful start to have interest, right? And they'll start asking questions here and asking questions there.
Always do.
And then it goes from there. You know what I mean? Like they could turn into a private money lender, or they could turn into, somebody that you work with every day. It just depends. But
yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, just sticking through it, man. It's hard, dude. But man, that's really the key.
George, do you remember the first deal you ever did?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first one that I really, really did was that one that we lost $100,000 on. So I'll never forget that.
Your first ever deal, you lost $100,000.
Like, that was really my first deal. Yeah, like my first big deal.
So if you could go back in time, what would you do differently on that deal?
Oh man, I mean, we did what we had to do, but as far as like researching the market, having better education on where we were at time wise, looking at the credentials of the contractor a little bit better, managing the process even better, keeping everything kind of like on more of a budget time frame. Draw schedule, would work a lot better this time around. That's how I do all my projects now. Everything is really, really tight knit. I see every dollar that goes out. They only get this much amount. They have to be able to give me a price with materials and labor and everything included. And then they're going to get money on this date, this date, and this date. And if this work isn't done, they're not going to get it. So,
right.
Yeah.
So be super organized and punctual and know exactly how much money is going out to the T. right? Kind of like just know where your money's going.
Yeah.
And make sure that the work's getting done.
Yeah, that and just being a better manager, like being a good manager, making sure that stuff is on it, being on top of it, never saying you don't have time, right? Like you have to make time, like for stuff. So I mean, make time. Busy's an excuse, you know.
Let's talk about that. Because I like that, man. Let's dive into that. Why is busy an excuse?
Busy's an excuse, man, because we all have the same amount of time in the day. We do, the president does, everybody does. We have the same amount of time.
I like that.
And the amount of stuff that gets done by other individuals in higher positions, they make time, you know. Busy isn't watching TV. Busy isn't going home and having to spend time lounging or grubbing or doing whatever. Like you can always make time to do what you have to do, you know. Mm-hmm. And that leads me back to something that a bunch of people told me, right? They told me, do what other people won't do for 5 years so that you can do what other people can't do for the rest of your life.
I like that a lot. Yeah, and I think that more people need to believe that, right? And more people need to implement that, because really, I mean, 5 years, that goes by like a breeze, right? I mean, yeah. 5 years ago, it feels like it was, just yesterday. We were back in 2012, right? I think that's when people were talking about the world was supposed to end back in 2012, right? Yeah. But I mean, that was just 5 years ago. So if you want to get major results, dedicate and commit to something for 5 years. Do you feel that 5 years is enough time to build the empire?
I think it's more than enough. And I mean, because I've had hiccups in my business, I know that 5 years is enough time if you do it correctly. But I mean, everybody's going to have hiccups, right? But for me, I didn't take a vacation. I didn't take a major vacation. I haven't done anything crazy it's been 4 years or so since I've done anything like at all like that, right? Since I made that plan, it's been about 4.5 years. So I've got like 6 months left on that. Where I'm at now, I'm like,
where are we going, George?
Huh?
Where are we going, man? We going to
go. Like we can go. You know the places to go, bro. I don't know.
Bora, it's about that time.
Yeah. I've already considered like Greece is going to be where I'm going to go first, and I'm going to go to Santorini, I'm going to rent an Italian car. I'm going to go to Santorini, and I'm going to ball out. I'm not going to lie to you, bro.
That's awesome, man. So let's talk about those goals. You like going to Greece, doing something like that, committing to something, dedicating time, saying, hey, when I hit these targets, when I hit these goals, I'm then going to reward myself with doing this, right? How important is goal setting to you and your business?
Man, for me, goal setting, I'll be honest with you, man. I really don't have I have visions of what I want it to be, but I don't really have like big goals, right? I'm just like, I know once I get there, I'll be able to do whatever else it is that I want to do at that time. So I set kind of like small goals where I'm like, okay, cool. I need to structure my company. I need to add this person, and this person, and I need to be able to have them do this and this and this. So then it'll allow me to do this and this and this and this. So I'm really kind of just like trying to build the structure, and I built the structure. And now I have the structure all in place, and it's starting to work really well. I still haven't gotten to the point where I could remove myself completely, but it's still to the point where I'm like, damn, I'm getting like a lot more things are getting done, a lot more volumes getting done. There's no way that I could have did it by myself without creating those milestones, I guess you could say, instead of goals. Right.
Okay, so while you may not write down your goals every single day, every single month, you do have milestones. You do have a vision of where you are right now and where you want to go. So you mentioned not being, present in your company and being able to, to pull out and have the company still operate. Is that something that you plan on achieving?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I'll always be involved, obviously, like in some type of way, because I love real estate. Like I enjoy it. I wake up every day and I'm happy to do what I got to do. I still go on appointments. I still talk to sellers. I still go out to dirty properties. I still climb in windows. Like I do what I got to do, but I like that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's like I like that stuff. I'm not better than that. And I won't always do that part of it, but I'll always be involved in some way. Yeah.
Gotcha. So in the real estate space, for you to be able to step aside from your company and have it still operate efficiently and produce revenue, what does that look like? At what point do you feel and hey, I can step away, the business is going to run perfectly?
I got to say, once my rental portfolio gets to a certain point, that'll be part of it. The wholesale side of it is getting really close to there. As far as like having acquisition people, the next step would be to like have an acquisition manager that can manage those people and train new folks. Because now I'm training everyone that comes in, and then I'm kind of like managing the process from there to sales. But now I have sales and marketing. Now I have a sales and marketing manager who's handling all that stuff. So I took one part out. Now I just have to be able to figure out how I can continue to get someone else to train other people the same way that I train people. Because that's what I've noticed in my business is the biggest asset in my business. And if I'm away from that part, then my business isn't worth $1. So I have to be able to figure out how to get a manager that can train other people. Once I do that, then I could probably remove myself quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, and I think, that's a really tough component of the business, and that's something that honestly I haven't even figured out doing how to do. And I'm not good at hiring people. I'm good at team building. I know how to lead a team, but when it comes to hiring people, George, I have no idea what to do, man. I'll be honest with you. So what are some tips, man? How does one find quality people? How does one, structure a team? How do you find out who to have do what, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, man, I really base it. That's a good question. Cause I was just on a panel not too long ago and they asked me the same question, and it has a lot to do with personality types, being able to read personalities. And for me, because I've always been belly to belly with the seller, I've always gone on appointments and talked to different people and put myself in those shoes to where I have to be able to negotiate with people that live in Fifth Ward, and I have to be able to negotiate with people that live in River Oaks. So I can read people.
I don't mean to interrupt you, George, but for the people that aren't from Houston, because we have viewers all over the place. Yeah, can you just elaborate on geographically?
So we'll say people in a lower price point, right? And then people in like $1 million price point. So being able to connect with those types of people, I get to read their personality. I'm like, okay, I need to be this personality to be able to close the deal, to get them to understand that, hey, I'm the expert. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I'm going to do this for you. And I add value. Same thing goes for the person in the lower price point. But I got to read those different types of personalities. So when I learn those personalities, I know when I bring somebody on and I work with them for 2-3 weeks, I say, okay, this isn't going to work for you, but this will, right? This fits you, either your sales or your acquisitions, or, you may be like a project manager or something like that. But those different types of personalities make a huge difference, and you can make them take that DISC test. Wealth Dynamics is a really good source to take a free test, personality test. You can read that, see their strong points and their weak points, and then from there you can kind of place it.
Repeat that website one more time.
It's Wealth Dynamics.
Wealth Dynamics.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. All right. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So that's going to help you get a general idea of what that person's like. Like, what are they good at? What are they bad at? Like for me, I'm a really good leader, kind of like what you said. And I'm really good at training and developing the people on my team. Now, I'm not so much of an idea creator kind of person, right? So that's why me and AC always work really, really well together, because he's a creative star kind of person, and I'm kind of like a leader, trainer, developer kind of person. So he comes up with the idea, and then I filter it down to everybody else and say, okay, this is how you got to do it, and then I lead them to do it. So we work really well together. Now I had to learn how to be creative star, but I'm really not that good. So now I just put people in place that have that type of personality.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's kind of like you know exactly what it is that you do really well at, and you're able to align yourself with somebody who can fill in the gaps and do the things that you're not best at.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I'm getting here?
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome.
And when you do that, you have them do that test, even if you do it, say, in an interview. You have them do that test as homework. They send you the results, and then boom, you read it, and you're like, okay, cool. This person doesn't really work out for this position, right? Because this is the kind of personality that I really want in that position. Because you don't want an introvert to do sales. Like they can't really be closers.
Okay.
And that test will help you kind of get a head start on that person.
Gotcha. So if you were to start all over and you knew that you needed to go out and build a team, where is the first place that you would look to hire people?
I really don't look. It's kind of weird how it works. I'd probably have to say, look somewhere, if you're in real estate, look somewhere outside of the industry, right? Because everybody I know that I've brought on that has been really, really successful had absolutely nothing to do with real estate in the past. I mean, if so, it was very little. And
Gotcha.
Taking a person that has a blank slate and being able to train them, if they're trainable, you'll make them a rock star if you're a good trainer, But if they have bad habits, it's going to be very hard to do. So I'd say look outside of someone that already has experience if it's in the real estate market, depending on the different industries, it may be a little bit different. But as far as real estate goes, that's kind of like my mindset on hiring people.
Okay. Now, do you do the work to learn model, or do you pay a salary? What would you recommend? Somebody put the team.
Right now, everything is commission. Everything is commission based. It keeps people hustling. For me, it keeps people hustling. I pay a hefty commission, so I want to keep my people happy and they want to be there.
Nice.
And I provide as many resources as I can. So it's like you can build your own real estate business while you're working with me as we work together in a partnership. You know what I mean? So I'm always there for my team. I always try to be there, try to answer the phone as much as possible, even though I get a ton of calls and messages. My phone's blowing up right now. I guess people don't know that I'm on a live interview. But that's something that's huge. That's something that's huge is having them grow with you and providing those resources.
Gotcha. That's good stuff, man. Dropping tons of value bombs here, Mr. George Mata. Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're live. We're talking about how to build the empire. And in just a few seconds, we're really going to dig deep into the steps on how to create the empire, how all of you can go out and create the empire. So make sure that if you're tuning in, drop a comment and let us know you're here. So, George, I want to ask you a question. And this may require a little bit of thought because I know you've been in the game for 10 years now. But in 10 years, what was the biggest challenge that you've ever had to overcome?
Man, I'm probably having that challenge now. And that's letting go of responsibilities and letting other people take them over. That's probably the biggest thing, because once you get something going and you're successful at it, it's kind of like your little baby that you built and you don't want to let it go. You don't want to let other people touch it. You just want to do everything yourself. And you start to communicate on a not a productive level. The communication and listening to other people and what your team has to say is a huge deal breaker. If you can't listen and you can't understand what your team's trying to communicate, then you're just not going to be a good leader. Your business isn't going to be successful. They're not going to be successful, and they're probably going to quit. So being able to listen to them and communicate that and being able to let go of the responsibility is huge. And once I got the communication part, I didn't let go of the stuff still, but I was still kind of stubborn. But now it's like, okay, look, I'm going to give you this. This is how you do it. You do it your way, and I want you to be creative with it. And then show me, and if I like it, cool, we'll do it. So I let them kind of go out, be creative, do their thing. I look at it, I'm like, cool, that's 10 times better than I would have did because I suck at that stuff. So you go ahead and knock it out.
Right. So putting trust in the team that you've built, that they're going to go out there, they're going to put on for the company, they're going to put on for the vision, they're going to do what they need to do. And, if it needs some improvement, you can step in and say, hey, boom, boom, boom. But I think what you're kind of saying here, George, correct me if I'm wrong, it's necessary for you to be able to grow, to pass off the responsibilities that you've always done to your team so that the company can scale. Is that right?
Yes. Like, you will not scale. And you will not scale if you can't communicate and listen, because those people, they're having issues come up too, right? And it's not always just because they don't know. It's just that, hey, these may be different issues that you haven't even dealt with before. But you may know how to attack it. You may know how to handle it, but you have to listen to them. So getting their feedback, listening, and letting go of responsibility and letting people take over stuff is big.
I dig it, man. So is this something that you do like once a week? You have like a team meeting, or what would you recommend for that?
Yeah, I mean, once a week meeting is always good. Keeping everybody on the same page. Hey, what are you doing? What are you up to? Are you having any issues? What are the issues? Okay, cool. You're having problems with that person. Let's call them right now. We'll do training and development right now on the phone call. And I just nip it in the butt right there, right? Like, I do it on the spot. Like, boom. Okay, cool. Let's do it. And when they see you do that and they see that action and then they see the result at the end, they're like, damn, that was good. He made it look easy. I need to keep practicing to get better,
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Awesome stuff, man. George, I want to get into the Empire. I'm most excited for this portion of the interview because not only do you run a company called Empire, but we're talking about building the Empire. So if I wanted to go out, build the Empire, the listeners want to go out, build the Empire, I guess let's go over just a list of things. I mean, where do you start? Where do you finish? How do you do it?
Man, what I realize and what I notice is that people want to build a team, but they're not concrete 100% in their business yet, right? So they want to start passing off responsibilities. They want other people to do stuff. They need an assistant like 2 months in, right? They're like, oh, man, I got an assistant. Like, man, bro, you're not even doing 20 hours worth of work every week. Like, why do you need an assistant? Why do you need to hire a VA,
Yeah.
And grinding it out, getting to the point where your business is there where you really are losing money because you don't have a team. That's probably when you need a team. And like, then you're so well versed in every part of your business that you can train and develop those people the right way, right? Like, you train and develop those people the right way because you know from experience. When you don't know, then you're stumbling over yourself, and they don't really have confidence in you either because you don't know. You don't even know how to fix their problems because you've never dealt with them before. Like when I started this team, I had already done over 300 deals. So I mean, in my mind, it's like, if there's a title problem, I already know how to fix it. If there's this, I know how to fix it. So whatever they come up with, it's like
300 deals.
Yeah, yeah. That's when I started the team. Yeah. So.
George ain't no small fish in the game, man. Oh, yeah, so you waited till you did 300 deals before you started going out and really exploding with the team and building the Empire.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, man, I absolutely positively know enough in this business to tell somebody else, hey, look, I'm going to pay you commission. But if you do it the exact way that I teach you how to do it, you're going to make a ton of money. If you're 100% coachable and you do it the way I teach you to do it, you're going to make money. And I have confidence in that, right? From somebody that has no experience, 90 days, 70 grand. You know what I mean? Like, boom, right off the bat. People that have sales backgrounds and experience and stuff like that, I mean, man, all I got to do is just give them the information. Within 30 days, they're rocking and rolling. So I mean, I know my process is good. It works. And being able, just because I know so much about the business, that I got to the point where, okay, cool, now I can add people. And before I was only good at acquisition, then I had to get good at sales, and then I had to get good at some of the marketing stuff. So I'm doing a little bit of everything in my business, but I'm like, man, how can I be that much better? How can I grow and add people? And then I'm like, man, you know what? It's time to add people, and then I started adding people, and people started talking to me about being on my team and stuff. So, I have a certain level of commitment that they have to have too. They have to do a certain amount of marketing. They have goals and stuff that they have to meet to be able to keep working with us and be part of the team, because I'm in it for all of them to be successful. It's not just for myself. Yeah, I'm building an empire around these people, but these people also, they all have LLCs. They're all buying houses. They're all rehabbing houses. They're all getting rental properties and building wealth. So, I mean, we're all working together as a just big empire to like take things over. So, I mean, that's really what it is.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome, man. So we got some Marilyn Phipps is here. She says, I need to be coached by George. Dominic says, golden Hey, guys, for those of you that are just tuning in, or if you've been here for a while, if you have any questions at all, whether it's real estate related, business related, make sure to drop those in. George agreed to stick around, answer some questions for you guys. So make sure you take you take this opportunity and actually apply it. All right, so George, you got to get results. You got to start building a team, building the empire. What else, man? I mean, that can't just be it, right? I mean, when I think of empires, I'm thinking the Roman, the Roman civilization. So what's next, George? I mean, how do you fuel the fire? How do you go big time?
Man, I mean, when I did that and I built the team, I pretty much structure my private money process. I structure how we buy the houses, how we flip them, the construction process. Like everything is all presented to everybody that's on my team. That's part of the empire. And going out, raising private money, everybody raises private money. We JV on. I mean, the volume is just going through the roof, like ridiculous, Right now we have, I think like 11 construction projects all under construction. We have 15, 17 wholesale deals on the board, something like that. Like the marketing, right. Now I have a marketing. I'm sure everybody's starting to see my presence now because now I actually have a marketing department taking care of all the posts and all the Facebook stuff and all the Instagram stuff. So all of that stuff is pushing to drive the volume up so that I can build my rental portfolio as can everybody else in the group. So we've raised tons of money. We share the money. I have my own money too, and then they have their own private money for their deals. So it's really just being able to take stuff down every single time we see it if we want it,
Just divide and conquer.
Exactly.
Just take it over. You better stay out of Pasadena, Texas, though, man. 'Cause that's you keep the Fifth Ward, man, but you gotta stay out the Southeast, man. I don't want to have problems with you, George. I like you, man. You're a good guy.
I'll dip out there every now and then. I got one over in South Houston, but I don't really go too far to Pasadena yet.
Yeah, that's right, man. We don't want to have any problems here, George. I know a few guys. So let me ask you this, George, and this may get a little personal. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm just trying to understand the dynamic here. So you have a bunch of people, they're all a part of your company, they're all your team members, but they have their individual companies within your empire, within George's empire, right?
Correct.
So they're all doing their thing, but it's kind of like a pool. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah. So what it is like we're like a big team. We all do marketing.
Okay.
And when they're ready to take one down themselves, boom, they have their LLC, or they need to take one down, put it in their rental portfolio. They have their LLC set up to do that.
Gotcha.
If they want to take one down and rehab it and JV with me, then we can JV on it. So I mean, it's all set up to where they're buying houses, they're building their wealth, and then they do acquisitions and wholesaling with me too. So.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this, George. What happens when you bring somebody on the team? You show them the game, you teach them the game, they make money with you, they're fully committed, and then they want to go out and build their own empire and separate from what they've done with you. And they want to go out, maybe they have resources, maybe they have, insider information. I mean, what happens then? How do you feel about that?
Man, that's always been a really touchy subject with a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people get to the point where they're like, oh no, you work for me and I don't want you to go out and steal my information and steal stuff like that. And you know what, man, it happens. It really does. Right. But I've kind of calculated the turnaround, right? So, I mean, there's going to be people that are going to leave and there's going to be people that want to go out and do it on their own. Now, all of my information for all of my structure isn't necessarily like put out there as far as certain parts of my business, right? But all the parts that you need to make money are presented to you. Now, if you decide that you want to go out and do it on your own, you know, more power to you. I mean, to be honest with you, it's real hard. And, you know, when you have to go out and bring all your own resources again and build a whole company on your own, you're kind of taking 5 steps back from where you already were, you know?
100% agree. 100% agree. And I think sometimes, not that everybody can't go out and build their own empire, because they absolutely can, right? It's a fair playing field for everybody. But I think some people underestimate really what goes into building a company and running a business like a business and not a hobby, right? I mean, it takes years and years to grind.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between going out and getting contracts and doing deals by yourself and having a business and building a business, right? Like going out, being a real estate investor and doing a couple deals here and there, that's fine, but you're not going to live on that. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have money coming in here or there, but building an actual business, building a structure, building a system for your staff, building you know, to sell stuff, to bring in new leads, to bring in private money, to use the private money, like set everything up as a business. There's a huge difference with that. And that's where some people get hung up, is like, oh, well, I go out and I do deals and I get contracts. I could go out and do this on my own. But they don't see the backside of it, where it's like, okay, no, like, you don't understand. Like, I built this structure for this marketing stream. I built this. All of my stuff is calculated and it's proven. You put this much in, you get this much out. You know what I mean? And to get to that point, it took a lot of time and it took a lot of my money. It took me being broke for a long time. But now that it's there and it works, it's like, hey, why would you do that when you're still building your own business? You can still go out, buy your properties, do rehabs, get the 100% of that profit, you know, and have a team around you with a ton of resources. So if you want to go out and do it on your own after that, yeah, you can. Hey, more power to you. And if you're successful at it, dude, I'm going to feel super good about myself.
Absolutely.
I'm the one that shows you how to do it. You know?
At the end of the day, you know, that's what it's all about, right? Everybody can win. Everybody can get what they want out of life. If you're willing to be committed and dedicate the amount of time, hustle, and drive to the business, you can and will succeed, right? But, I mean, the truth is not everybody's willing to do that. But it's always available, right? It's always here for you. It's like, you know, and I really like what you're doing. I like the model, man. And I'm sure you have a lot of people right now in your organization that owe you a lot of thanks, man, for bringing them on board and becoming a part of the culture, and, you know, giving them kind of like, you know, just putting them onto the game so they can go out and provide for their families and their life.
It's just like me. Sure. Like, I have AC to thank. I have my mom, my dad, my brother, you know, for all supporting me and pushing me, and AC showing me the game, you know, and me and him working on such a high level that it's just like I was able to go out and get that picture, right? Because a lot of people don't understand the rest of it, but I understood that process because I got to the point in his company where I was the chief operations officer. So, I mean, I looked over everything. So, I mean, I had to see, like, man, it's a lot of work. So.
Absolutely, man. So, George, it brings me to my next question, and I want you to put some thought into this one. If you were to go back in time to the first day that you had your aha moment, what would you do differently? Man,
that's a good question, man. That was so long ago. Like, I'm trying to think about it.
Hey, man, take your time.
You know, there's not really much that I would say I would do differently. Like, it's just such a big learning process. And if I could, I would say there was moments where I was stubborn and I did think I knew it all. And in those moments, I wouldn't do those moments. I would be 100% completely clear and listen to everything that was on a higher level than me, as opposed to, because there was a point in my career where I was like not listening to people. Like I said, in that communication where I was like not listening to people, not taking in information, not really being with them and being able to communicate with them at the right level to help them be successful and to help grow the company. So I'd probably say listen more and be more, take more action on things that people recommend that are on a much higher level than you know? So take advice a lot better.
So who are some people that you seek advice from?
Man, I seek advice from AC. I seek advice, all over the place. Like I ask people what they're doing in their business. I tell them what I'm doing in my business. People that are on a higher level, like people that are on the level that I want to get to. Tom Berry, geez, man, like,
Yeah.
and he's an open book. Like he'll tell you everything you need to know, and it's like, why wouldn't I ask him a ton of questions? Like,
and for the viewers that are not familiar with the Houston real estate community, everybody that George is naming right now is an active real estate entrepreneur in and around the Houston area. And I'm sure George would be willing to give those contacts, those names and their Facebook profiles. It's not hard to find them, if you wanted to get in touch with them. So seek counsel from those that are, 10 steps ahead of you. I absolutely love it. And we talked about that book, George, that Mark Cuban book. But were there any other books or anything that you're reading right now that you want to recommend to the audience here? Maybe somebody needs a kick in the butt.
Man, I'd have to say Gary Vee has a ton of good stuff, especially just on an entrepreneur level. You know what I mean? Like he gets in your face and he gets on your ass. You know what I mean? It's really in your face, but it's not like in your face because he's trying to get views. It's in your face because that's the reality of it, And when you're in that state of mind, he can kick your ass and get you out, And I mean, that's on any of his content that he has. I subscribe for Daily V. I subscribe for all his stuff. And when it comes in, I watch it. I watch him on Snapchat. I watch it on Instagram. It's just something that you keep that going and you keep that mindset. You're going to know that shit in the back of your mind. You're going to be like, no, this is what I need to do,
Awesome, man. Yeah, Gary Vee. Man, that dude is he's a firecracker, man. He's a firecracker. I love him, man. I love everything Gary's about, man. He's just straight raw to the point. Yeah. And he definitely sets the bar high, man. So, George, what time do you wake up in the morning?
Man, you know what? Before I was waking up at 10 o'clock. I have a team. Now I have to wake up at 6:30. So now I'm up at 6:30 trying to get things to go. I try to get on the road by 7. I have appointments by like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Try to get it rolling, Try to get it rolling. So, to be honest, 6:30 is still not early enough. Like I really should be up an hour before that, and I should be at the gym at 5:30, and I should be starting at 6:30.
Yeah, for sure. So walk us through a day, man. You wake up at 6:30. They say the most successful people wake up before 8 a.m. and they have routine. So, kind of walk us through a day in your life, man. What goes on?
Man. So wake up, grab some food, maybe grab a smoothie, head out. If I already have appointments, I'm probably just going to rendezvous at the office, meet up with whoever has appointments, roll out to those appointments, because usually these are already qualified appointments that just need to be closed. Boom, get a contract on it.
Gotcha.
See who has appointments, roll out there. Pick up a contract, do that, take pictures, maybe do a couple Facebook Live things, some marketing stuff while we're out there, let people know what we're doing, that we got another property coming out. Do that stuff, then roll from there, go check out my rehabs, check on the progress, a lot of that stuff. I'll go to different parts of town depending on where they're at. So if I'm close by, I'll check on that one. If I'm close by in 5th Ward, I'll check on all of those, see what's going on with those, where we at, where we're going to be, go back to the office, work on training and development with phone calls, with the staff and stuff like that there. Hopefully they get more appointments set up. I train them on that stuff, get that stuff set up. If buyers need to come in and bring earnest money for deals, they can come in and bring earnest money while I'm at the office. Probably grab some lunch. All of that's done, and then I'm probably just now grabbing lunch like at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And, grab some lunch, probably go look at some more houses, and then come back to the office and try to make my way home by like 5 or 6. So you're pretty much going for 12 hours. And then once I'm home, I'm still checking emails and looking at HUDs and working on closings and doing all that stuff. Networking events, try to make it out to networking event. Try to get out there, try to get more money, some private money raised.
So what do you do to keep the energy levels high?
Dude, I always interact with everybody. Like we joke around, we play all day. Like we have a good time. We, like our office isn't structured where you sit down on the computer and you have a headset and you're making phone calls. If I'm making phone calls with you in the room, and I get a seller that's telling me like that they want to sell their house for $1 million and it's in Fifth Ward, I call them back. You know what I mean? Like I tell them I'm going to give them $1 million, and I make everybody crack up. You know, kind of keep the energy high, and then go on and boom, go to the next phone call. Go to the next phone call. Okay, cool, and train and develop and get them rocking. You know.
Are you a coffee drinker or energy drinker?
No, man, I'm not. I'm really not.
Wow, straight up natural.
Yeah. I just gotta like it, man. Keep going, bro. Maybe I should. Like I don't know, because I mean, by the end of the day, I feel beat, but I just gotta.
Yeah.
Keep, you know.
Yeah, man. So, how important is work, personal life balance to you?
Man, for me, this is something that I figured out. That's probably like a huge deal, right? People think they're gonna balance work and life being an entrepreneur. There's not really like a balance. It's just like all together. Like it's one. And when you learn that you can't have one or the other at certain particular times, it's just kind of like all together, and like that's when you feel free. Like you feel the freedom because you don't see work as work anymore. It's just part of your life, right? So it's like, okay, I got to go to the gym. It's just part of my life, right? It's not like gym in life. It's just, you got to go to the gym. You got to brush your teeth. You got to wash your hands. You got to have food. You got to work, you know, like you got to talk to lenders. You got to go look at properties, like just part of your everyday routine, as opposed to, oh man, I feel like I'm working too much, or I feel like I'm not getting enough time to do this. And it's like, especially if you're in that plan, like for me, like, dude, I haven't taken vacation for 4.5 years. If I'm in that plan and I know that that's my end goal, like I know that those two things need to be together, and my mindset shouldn't be worried about whether or not I have more time free. It should be worried about what else can I do with the time that I have free that can be productive, you know?
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. What's next for Mr. George Mata?
Man, you know, really just building my brand. I'm really working on building my brand, building the Empire brand and getting it out there with the wholesale stuff. And I never really built the brand because I had so much stuff going on in the background. Now I have a great person that I brought on, Andrea, man, to do all the Facebook marketing, Instagram stuff. And Marco, too, is doing the awesome videos for me at the properties with Patina Homebuyer. Like he's one of the people that works with us. And just really keeping it going like that and building that brand strong. So like people know like, hey, yo, Empire has deals. Empire's doing deals in Fifth Ward. If you have stuff you want to sell to me in Fifth Ward, Denver Harbor, boom, you call me, I buy it. You know what I mean? It's like instant.
Okay.
And so it's starting to get to that point, and just really diversifying with my investments too. And I buy, fix, and sell in Fifth Ward, but I want to buy rental properties all, you know, depending on where it's at. I want to buy rental properties, and I want to build that portfolio and get that stuff structured. That's part of my business that's really like I set aside on the back burner because I got so busy with construction projects and stuff. But now I'm really starting to set in where I can really like start to buy these, turn around, get them financed, put somebody in it, boom, ready to go. You know, awesome. So building my brand is probably where I'm at right now.
I love it, man. I love it, dude. Tons of value here, George. And I wanna go ahead and finish off this awesome interview with the question that I ask every guest that comes on the show. By the way, I think you're like number 6, man. The show's still new, George. It's still new, man. So this is history right here. But this question is really deep, man. I want you to take a minute here to really just think about this one, man. And the question is, in your entire life, you're 29 years old right now, in your entire life, what is the best advice that you have ever received? Ever?
Man, I'm gonna say it was what I quoted earlier. You know, do something that other people won't do for 5 years so you can do what other people can't do for the rest of your life. I mean, that's something that stuck with me. Like really, really, like, man, I look at where I'm at, the team I have, you know, where I've come in 4.5 years. And I say, man, like if it wouldn't have been for me working that hard, I'd probably be halfway where I'm at, you know? And to be able to do that and have the financial freedom and get up every day and love what I do, not have a boss, not have to deal with that stuff. That was the greatest piece of advice that I got. you know.
Awesome, man. Absolutely. Great advice, George. And I know that so many people right now that are tuned in, whether they're watching live or they're watching on the replay, because this replay will be up and also uploaded to YouTube and in iTunes. Where can people reach out to you?
Man, you can find me on my Facebook. If you look at
Oh my! George, I thought you were gonna say MySpace, man.
You can look me up on my Facebook. Just look up George, George, last name Mata, Mata. You can look up our Facebook page, Empire Holdings. We're here in Houston, Texas. And then on Instagram, it's going to be empire.holdings. You can follow us on Instagram. You can check out all the progress of our rehabs, any new wholesale deals that are coming out. They usually hit the Instagram, hit the Facebook, and then, you know, you can sign up for our email list and stuff like that.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, George, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, man. You dropped so much value, and I'm so excited that we can make this happen.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely, man. And for all the viewers, thank you so much. I hope you guys love this show. This is the Start It Somewhere show. We come at you every single week. If you know somebody that's absolutely dominating it in their business as an entrepreneur, and you want to see them on this show, you want to see them in the hot seat, go ahead and comment their name below. Drop some questions in for George. I'm sure he'll be scanning the comments. Give him a big thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys on next week's episode. Take care.